Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and it is preseason, baby. The Kansas City Chiefs face off against the LA Rams. The Chiefs lose, but we don't care about the score because preseason is about evaluating players. Teams come in with these vanilla game plans in large part so they can get these players in a situation where they're not helping them a lot. How good can you be with this vanilla game plan? And we have a lot of players to evaluate. And really for the Kansas City Chiefs, there was only one true negative in this game. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, Cyrus Allen is going to be big time. Chiefs wide receiver, 5th round pick out of Cincinnati, had a very nice first preseason game where you got to see why everyone expects Cyrus Allen to be a guy who plays in his first season in Kansas City and makes a big impact. He finds ways to get open. On a 3rd down, Garrett Nusmeer found Cyrus Allen because Allen was able to find a soft spot in the zone, a la Travis Kelce, and then climb the ladder, make a catch in traffic, 1st down. That's what you're looking for. Those moments that show you this guy can actually make some big-time plays, and we saw the route running, the ability to create separation. This is why Cyrus Allen has so many people talking about him at training camp, and so many people excited about him in the Big 12 after his 13-touchdown season in 2025, coming to Kansas City to make a massive impact. Cyrus Allen gets a big green check on today's preseason game, and I think he has a very bright future in Kansas City. Another guy that has a very bright future, played very well today, was Armason Thomas. Edge rusher out of Oklahoma, Armason Thomas is going to save the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line. That's what we saw early on in this game against the Rams, where Armason Thomas not only was able to make consistent plays. Think about the 1st and goal situation for the Rams when it was 0-0. He made a tackle on 1st down. Then he made a tackle on 2nd down. Then on 3rd down, Stetson Bennett couldn't get a clean pass off because Armason Thomas, once again, boomer sooner, comes across the line and gets a piece of him, creating a wounded duck that Jaden Hicks was able to come over and knock away. So Armason Thomas had a very nice beginning to his preseason, showing everybody that the number 40 overall pick for the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL draft is going to make a big impact on this team. Armason Thomas, from a pass rushing standpoint, will be used early and often. In fact, if I'm Kansas City, I would start Armason Thomas almost immediately. Let him have a few lumps in the first few games. Yeah, he'll probably get some trouble against the Broncos, some trouble here and there in September. But by the time you hit Halloween and go into November, when you're playing against teams like the Buffalo Bills, and you need somebody to step in there and crush Josh Allen and get to the quarterback and create a disruption in the backfield, that's Armason Thomas, and that's why Thomas could save this defensive line that struggled so much to get to the quarterback in 2025 and struggled so much to get off the field in 2025. Armason Thomas is going to make a huge improvement right there for Kansas City. Another guy, we'll get to the downside. Actually, we'll do that now. We have another guy who I think I'm so fired up about. I was fired up about him before the game, did a post about him the morning of the game against the Rams, and I couldn't be more excited. Get to him in just a minute, but first, the downside. The big downside for this game, the Chiefs have got to get the penalties figured out. It was a problem in 2025. It was a problem in the preseason game. Penalties that destroyed drives. The Chiefs didn't have one offensive drive for the whole first half and into the second half without a drive-destroying penalty. Whether it's a pass interference or a hold, even a phantom hold that took away Emmt Johnson's touchdown, who had an awesome game. Emmt Johnson should have had that touchdown. The phantom hold that was really ticky-tack from the referees didn't even need to happen. He was going to score either way. So having a phantom hold, having all the penalties really hurt the Chiefs' offense. It was tough. You don't want to have those. The penalties were an issue in 2025. How many times did we see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs stall out in 2025 because of a lack of discipline and penalties? That can't happen this year. And that's why Eric Bieniemy's back. The upside of this is after the first preseason game, the Chiefs have plenty of film for the coaches to go through and say, hey, guys, You need to be more disciplined. You know why the little things matter? You know why making sure you don't get flags matter? Because it destroys drives like it did against the LA Rams. So that's something the Chiefs are going to have to take their time really working on. And the good news is it's preseason. You can work on it. The coaches can help. That's great. The downside is if you still have penalty issues like this when the season starts, it's going to be hard to beat anybody. It just is. If you can't go one drive without a penalty, you're going to have a really hard time beating anybody. So I know it was a lot of backups and guys that won't be starting committing these penalties, but you have got to have a more disciplined culture where those penalties don't destroy your drives. That's football 101, man. And then back to the positivity. Emmt Johnson's already the running back 2 in Kansas City in my mind. What a great debut by him in the preseason against the LA Rams, where he goes 12 carries for 59 yards and what should have been a touchdown if it wasn't wrongly called back because of a ridiculous phantom holding call. It's August. It is August, and the referees in the NFL are already trying to take good things away and make the game all about them. That has to get better. But Emtt Johnson showed everybody why he was the man at Nebraska last year, and he will probably be, in my mind already is, the number 2 running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, who will be there as the number 2 to the number 1 Kenneth Walker, and your 1-2 punch of Walker and Johnson. Emmett's a big-time player, and he could catch the ball well out of the backfield. He and Jake Brenningstool led the team in receptions with 3. So he's an all-around running back that's going to be huge for Andy Reid. And trust me when I tell you, Emtt Johnson, the ceiling is huge, and he is in a perfect spot right now as the number 2 behind Kenneth Walker. Big-time player, Emtt Johnson. I could not be more excited. Also, on the defensive side of the ball, Alohi Gilman is the backstop. The new chief safety signed from the Baltimore Ravens, 28 years old. He looks like the backstop. He played, even though he's likely going to start, they wanted to get him in there and see how he works in Spags' defense against the Rams. And the reason the Rams were not able to have any big plays in the first half was because Alohi Gilman was there. Anytime anybody broke past the first and second levels of the defense, Alohi Gilman was there. And if you watch him at training camp in St. Joe, it's the same thing. Alohi Gilman's always there. He is the backstop. He's Justin Reed. He's Tyrann Mathieu. That's how he is supposed to work in this defense. Jaden Hicks was supposed to be that guy last year. It didn't work out. So they went and got a guy in free agency in Alohi Gilman that will be that guy. And I'm excited to see Alohi Gilman and how he develops as the season goes on. And by the way, Jaden Hicks had himself a nice game against the Rams as well. So potentially 2 really good safeties for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's exciting. Another exciting guy, there's a few guys I'm really fired up about that we have left, but this one, yeah, get going. Garrett Nusmeer has a very bright future. The quarterback out of LSU, 7th-round pick, played the majority of the snaps for the Kansas City Chiefs, and he looked comfortable. I mean, Justin Fields looked really good, but Nusmeer came out, and even as a guy who doesn't have the experience of Justin Fields, he looked just as comfortable as Justin did. So Garrett Nusmeer has a very bright future. He went 13 of 19 for 98 yards, and in every moment, he made the right choice. That's what you want out of your quarterback, a guy who's going to come in and make the right decision. And by 2027, I think it's almost a foregone conclusion in my mind that Garrett Nusmeer will be the backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. What a great pick by Brett Veach and Andy Reid to go in the 7th round and get a guy out of LSU who really should have been valued higher than he was, and know that, hey, we developed this guy. We got our backup quarterback of the future, a guy who could be very successful in Kansas City. I couldn't have been more excited and more positively walking away from Garrett Nusmeer's performance. I couldn't have been more positive vibes. I couldn't have felt better about what Garrett Nusmeer did at Arrowhead Stadium, because he looks like somebody who very much belongs in the NFL. And as a 7th-round pick, that's always a question. You know, if a guy really belongs, or is he just kind of holding the spot? Nussy, he belongs. I'm a big Nussy guy now. I liked the pick. You can go back. I did a bunch of posts about him. I loved the Garrett Nusmeer pick. But seeing him in Chiefs red, seeing him in Arrowhead, and watching him play against a really solid Rams defense, He's got a bright future in this league. Quick release, lightning quick release, which in the NFL is incredibly important. D-backs are so fast. You have to have a fast release. And Nusmeer's got one of the fastest releases I've ever seen. We get to the Rams side of things, and then a little more Chiefs as well. But first, we gotta talk about this. Jake Briningstool is making believers out of Chiefs fans. One of the favorite players of mine in college when he was at Clemson. A two-time All-ACC player, led the Chiefs in receptions, tied with Emmt Johnson with 3. And you could see when he got into space on that tight end screen, he really was able to make something happen. Jake Briningstool is currently fighting for that tight end 3 position, but I think he could be tight end 2 by the end of the year. He's young, he's 6'6", 240, has a lot of upside and insane attributes. And what we saw against the Rams is that he has been able to develop as a player. He is much different than he was in 2025 when he came in as an undrafted free agent. He's really starting to make some real headway as a big-time football player. So more Jake Briningstool during this preseason, and hopefully we see a lot more Jake Briningstool during the season because he's got a lot to like. He is a big-time player. All he needs is that development, and we're really seeing big-time development for Jake Briningstool. I swear, I really see him, Jared Wiley to an extent, but I think Briningstool has more upside than Wiley, and you need large tight ends. At this point, Noah Gray has dropped too many passes. He rarely can get open against man-to-man, and he's undersized. So you have to start asking the question, outside of being really good at understanding the offense, what does Noah Gray bring to the table? Jake Briningstool is 6'6", 240, fast. He's able to evade guys. He caught every pass thrown to him. So at that point, you go, okay, you have to at least call it an open competition because Noah Gray, in my opinion, has not done enough to be an unquestioned tight end 2 on this team. He's done enough to be in the conversation, in the competition, but he is not the guy, unquestionably, in my mind. I think if you're Jared Wiley, if you're Jake Briningstool, put in that time. You might win. You might get it because that's how good these guys can be. They have a lot of size, a lot of athleticism, infinite talent. Let's see how they develop over the next couple weeks. That's going to be a really fun position to watch, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. One more thing to get to on the Chiefs side, but I got to talk about the Rams for a second because Tai Simpson is the real deal. The Rams, number 13 overall pick out of Alabama, a surprise pick when it happened, came out in Kansas City and played phenomenal football. The Rams did a really good job of putting Simpson in position to be successful, rolling him out, letting him see the field, and he was able to just drop dimes all over. He went 21 of 25 for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's an 84% completion percentage. So Tai Simpson, the early returns are incredible. And it goes to show you that Sean McVay, when he really likes a quarterback, you have to keep it under wraps like the Rams did before the draft because everyone else is going to follow suit because it's Sean McVay. And seeing Tai Simpson early on, you have to believe he really has it like that because he has shown you now on the field he has it like that. So very proud of Tai Simpson. I'm proud. I want everybody to do well. I'm one of those guys. Like, I love the Chiefs. I always want the Chiefs to win. I'm born and raised in Kansas City. But I like to see guys succeed, especially when they're in the NFC. If you're in the AFC West, I hope for miserable failure. But if you're in the NFC, I like to see guys succeed. Finally, before we get out of here, a big-time player, Justin Fields, is ready. He was 4 for 4, looked very crisp, throwing for 41 yards for the Chiefs. He looks like the guy that we all know he is and developing into a smarter player under Andy Reid. Look at Andy Reid's history. How many guys have come to him that have been cast away? Michael Vick, Alex Smith, guys like Kevin Kolb, Donovan McNabb, guys that you look at and you go, anywhere else, they have been mediocre quarterbacks. Alex Smith got Wally pipped in San Francisco for Colin Kaepernick. Then he came to Kansas City, made the playoffs almost every single year, and had a winning record in Kansas City literally every year. So part of that is the Andy Reid effect, and we're seeing it with Justin Fields, that potential, and it's starting to grow. He has such a good arm, so much athleticism. He needed the right coaching, and he's bounced around. He needs a place that can really help develop him and time to develop. I believe we'll have that this year from Justin Fields because I don't believe Patrick Mahomes will miss week 1. He was out there in warm-ups today at Arrowhead Stadium with no knee brace on. That's awesome. Now, what does that mean for the future? Will he put it on later? We don't know. But it is undeniably fantastic news that Patrick Mahomes was out there throwing the ball around on the pitch, having a good time on the football field with no brace on. That is significant, and it matters. And the fact is, Justin Fields, as he develops as a backup quarterback, I think you have to have a really good backup in order to have your quarterback come back from significant injury if he has surgery. If your quarterback has surgery during the offseason, right? If your quarterback's coming off of offseason surgery, you have to have a good backup quarterback. And the Chiefs have accomplished exactly that with Justin Fields. It's the thing I think the Broncos actually failed at this offseason. Their only offseason failure was not getting a better backup quarterback, knowing that Bo Nix was coming off of surgery from his ankle. They're still sticking with Jarrett Stidham, who I think we all saw in the AFC Championship game won't get it done. But the Chiefs understood we got to go get somebody that can actually step in because we have a guy coming off of surgery. So they get Justin Fields, who I think looked great. Very solid in his first preseason game, went 4 for 4, 41 yards, crisp. And when they got him moving around outside of the pocket, you saw the special things that Justin Fields can do. So the Chiefs are in a great situation quarterback-wise where you have Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, coming off of injury, Justin Fields backing him up, and then Garrett Nusmeer out of LSU, 7th-round pick, dealing all over the field, looking well wise beyond his years. The Chiefs quarterback situation right now, to me, roses in every possible way. One thing, penalties. The Chiefs dominate this game if it's not for penalties. The Chiefs dominate this game if they don't have every single drive killed by a penalty. So that's it. If you're wondering what's wrong with the Chiefs, penalties. What's right with the Chiefs? Pretty much everything else. Watching this game got me fired up because if they can take that tape, go to the team and go, hey guys, when we say the little things matter and we talk about the importance of not getting penalties, this is what we mean. Because if the Chiefs didn't have all those penalties on offense in the first half, they would have had a 17-3 or maybe 17-6 lead at halftime. So that is a thing the Chiefs need to start working on, is getting those penalties really tightened up. And it's of the utmost importance going into this year because that oftentimes can be the difference between a contender and somebody who's sitting at home in January. You have to fix those penalties because if they keep destroying your drives, you're going to have a really hard time. The good news is it's preseason and the Chiefs have plenty of time to fix that problem. This has been Chiefs Chase. The Chiefs in their first preseason game against the Rams, really, everything but the penalties looked awesome. So I'm very fired up. We'll keep this going. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm so happy the season's back, and I'm so happy we get to do this. Have an awesome day. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Go Chiefs!